everyone. Welcome to the Workplace Safety and Health podcast, Let's Talk. I'm your host, 𝗟𝗺𝗁𝗍. Now, we are well into 2026 now and 2 years away from 2028. This is a key milestone year for Singapore's workplace safety and health community. But let's look back at 2025. It was a year of sustained workplace safety and health performance, made possible, though, through stronger collaboration among companies, workers, and the government. We also saw important refinements to our regulatory and professional standards, and across sectors, there was greater use of data and technology to anticipate risks and to prevent incidences. Now, this is a special episode of Let's Talk. We're here with Mr. Silas Sng, Singapore's Commissioner for Workplace Safety and Health. We are going to be reflecting on his top WSH highlights from the past year, and we will also explore what these changes actually mean for companies and workers, how we can strengthen our WSH system, move through 2026 smoothly, and move closer to WSH 2028. Silas, thank you for the time.
Thanks, 𝗟𝗺𝗁.
I am excited for this conversation. We love to always talk about moving forward, but before we move forward, let's take a look back at 2025. Where is Singapore in terms of overall trajectory for our Singapore WSH landscape?
I would say that we are definitely on track to achieve our WSH 2028 targets to be one of the safest countries in the world in terms of WSH. And that means that we want to have our fatality rate below 1.0 consistently over the years. Now, I must add that this is not an easy feat, considering that only a few developed countries in the world have managed to achieve that feat consistently. And for that, I want to thank all our tripartite partners, industry champions, employers, unions, and of course our WSH practitioners on the ground who have helped to make Singapore safer.
And it's a very good statistic so far. I mean, relatively, right?
Yeah.
What is the stat?
In 2025, Singapore recorded a workplace fatality rate of 0.96 per 100,000. Now, that is our lowest ever recorded, barring the COVID year, which disrupted work. This is an improvement from our previous year of in 2024, where the fatality rate was 1.2. In terms of major injuries, we also saw a record low of 15.7 per 100,000 workers, which is also again something that we are very heartened with in terms of all the improvements that we have seen. Right? And again, we must bear in mind that, despite the improvement, although we have improved, but we must not and we cannot rest on our laurels, because behind every statistics is a person and their families who are impacted. Our goal is really not just to meet our targets, but really to protect lives and limbs of our workers.
And to as a team all come together to improve this statistic year on year, right?
In terms of hotspots for 2025, right? Although constructions and manufacturing sectors have improved compared to the previous years, right? They remain the leading sectors, contributing to over 40% of fatal and major injuries. Right? If we zoom down into subsectors, right, we are looking at smaller work sites, smaller construction work sites. Example, either construction or A&A, addition or alterations of landed properties. For the manufacturing, it would be the metalworking subsector, as well as the food manufacturing subsector. So because they deal with a lot of machineries, and hence they do contribute to the injuries rate. And nevertheless, I think we will continue with our engagement and enforcement efforts on these sectors to entrench WSH ownership at both the leaders as well as the workers level. I think only then will we be able to sustain and improve the wish performance that we have seen in the past year.
So in 2025, I understand MOM introduced several refinements to the regulatory framework. Could you share what were some of the more significant changes, and why were these made? Why was this necessary?
Thanks. Let me just highlight perhaps 4 key changes. The first is on safe machineries. So we have included more machineries such as industrial cutters, cutting machines, packaging, mixer, and even food processing machineries under the 5th schedule of the WSH Act. Right? All this is to enhance the safety measures for such higher risk machineries. Our aim is to ensure that the machines are first and foremost designed to be safe, inherently safe to begin with. And then secondly, that when the owners or users uses them, they can be used safely and that all the necessary safeguards and safety measures are in place. The second area is really on combustible dust. We introduce clearer requirements on combustible dust labeling and notifications to strengthen hazard communications and awareness of combustible dust risks, as well as prevention control. Now, this ensures that the stakeholders throughout the supply chain, from the supplier to the end user, are held accountable and the workers are ultimately protected. Third, we also updated our occupational diseases list to broaden coverage and align reporting and compensation requirements under both the WSH Act as well as the Work Injury Compensation Act. Now, this change enhances the detection and reporting efforts to strengthen occupational health surveillance and occupational disease prevention. Last, I also want to add this point about video surveillance for the construction sector.
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
Yeah. This is, although this requirement kicked in June 2024, its impact was felt in 2025. And that's when we saw the reduction of the fatal and major injury rates by almost 15%. I think from 31.0 in 2024 to 26.3 last year. So we are very heartened by all this improvement, and we hope that whatever regulatory changes that we introduce will continue to spur the industry, employers and workers alike, I think, to make an effort to improve safety and health for them.
I mean, we seem to be seeing quite positive results from all the 4 changes that you mentioned. But regulation is one thing, right? Implementation is the other. We all know that,
of course,
right? It's all down to what you do on the ground. How did MOM actually strengthen the execution on ground in the year 2025?
Oh, that's an excellent question, Charmaine. I think on this matter, I would answer it in sort of three ways. Right, we strengthen execution via 3 levers. First is our traditional enforcement via boots on the ground. The second is really leveraging on the power of the service buyers to demand for better WSH. And the third is really leveraging on technology for self-check. So MOM check, service buyer check, and then the employers themselves check themselves via technology.
At every level, right?
Yes. Let me elaborate a little bit further. On traditional enforcement, we have always adopted a targeted approach in our enforcement stance, focusing on hotspots area. And when serious lapses are uncovered, then we will not hesitate to use our regulatory powers, such as issuing stop orders to address the safety and health risks.
Of course.
And very frequently, we will also publicize the actions that we take to multiply the deterrence effect. And at times, we will also collaborate with stakeholders and partners. Like, for example, I mentioned earlier food manufacturing. So we work with the Singapore food agencies and engage the partners such as the Food, Drinks and Allied Workers Union to address recurring safety concerns in the food manufacturing sector through targeted engagement and inspections. Our message to the employers and contractors is to please see the light or else you will feel the heat.
Oh.
Now, the second point is to rely on the powers of the service buyers. Now, we have always maintained that good WSH is good for business.
I agree.
So, we recognize that beyond enforcement, service buyers play an important role in shaping the behaviors of the supply chain. And this is why over the years we have developed various tools to help companies, to help service buyer identify which are the safer companies that they want to work with.
Oh, amazing. How do you do that?
So some of these tools includes CheckSafe, which is a portal that companies can check on the safety and health records of this company that they want to work with. Right? Be Safe is a flagship program by the WSH Council, and that sort of gives some accreditation for companies which have achieved certain safety and health qualifications. And the last but not least is really the WSH Awards, which I know many contractors, many companies covered for it because it enables them to profile themselves better in order to secure more business. So all this really helps to shape the behavior that good WSH is good for business.
Oh, definitely. I mean, those sound like a lot of things to look forward to, tools to empower them.
Yes.
Really, and something to look forward to. I mean, the awards definitely sounds very
Yes.
encouraging for businesses as well. Now, let's move our attention to the risks. Okay, so risks do evolve, and the way we do things must also change. We have to adapt, right? What was the third point that you are going to highlight?
Well, the third point is to use technology for self-help, for self-check actually. Right? Now, we recognize that it's somewhat impractical to expect the employers to be able to supervise all their workers all the time.
Yeah.
You can't be really stationing somebody to check on the workers to make sure that they do the right thing and do it safely, really 24/7. That's not practical, right? I think this is where I would say technology can play a part in it.
Yeah.
Right. And I mentioned earlier about the video surveillance system.
Yeah.
For the construction sector, and that is one way that we are trying to get the contractors to leverage more on technology to facilitate compliance and ultimately to prevent accidents on site. Another example is what we call the electronic permit to work system.
What's that?
Now, this is a system which leverage on the technology to track the type of high-risk activities that are being scheduled for that day and to ensure that the safety measures are being implemented before the work is being carried out. So a more matured electronic permit to work system will also enable the contractor to identify which activities may be incompatible, and hence then you deconflict them to avoid accident happening. So all these technologies can help to improve safety and health on site. Ultimately, we believe really that technology is an enabler. Right? And that can serve to improve both productivity as well as safety. And that's why we want as many employers and contractors to use it to their advantage. So to ensure implementation on the ground, MAM checks, service buyer checks, and lastly, contractor themselves self-check with the help of technology. So that's how we ensure that's how we ensure implementation on the ground.
So there are many safeguards really at various levels, right?
Yeah.
So fingers crossed with all of that, we will cover all bases, right?
Yes. I mean, we will never, from a regulator's perspective, we will never have adequate resources to cover all the workplaces we have in Singapore. So we really need to rely on other parties, other stakeholders, as well as technologies to help cover the bases.
As much as possible.
Yes, of course.
Anyway. Okay, so we know that risks evolve, risks change, right? And the way we do things, we have to also adapt to this, right? So let's turn our attention to data and technology. This is a sphere I'm very interested in. How has data and tech strengthened Singapore's approach to smarter prevention in 2025?
Thanks. That's a great question, and one that will inevitably lead us to the topic of artificial intelligence, AI.
Oh.
Right. So in GIS, we have also adopted AI and tech to improve WSH outcomes. We have initiated a couple of projects, AI projects, aimed at enhancing worksite supervision and hazard detection. Now, one of this project is called 𝗧𝗶𝗺𝗀𝗀 or Video Analytics, which we launched in partnership with GovTech and the Public Sector Science and Technology Policy and Planning and Plans Office. 𝗧𝗶𝗺𝗀𝗀 applies video analytics on the video surveillance feed, right, to provide real-time alerts on unsafe situation. This means that when an unsafe situation happens, the supervisor on the ground will get a beep on his phone and telling him where exactly is the unsafe situation, and then he can intervene immediately before anything goes further south.
This is wonderful. That's the first of its kind. I've never heard of this before.
It's been around for a number.
We're implementing it now here.
Yes. So we are working with various government agencies as well as the tech vendors to trial this, and that is currently now on trial at 14 worksites across the public sectors, which will end around probably middle of the year.
Okay.
And after that, we definitely want to scale it up as much as we can, because we believe that is possibly a needle mover, a game changer, I think, in terms of helping contractors be able to monitor the work on the ground.
I mean, that's already piqued my interest, right? So what other tech and data have we explored?
The other one, exciting one, is what we call 𝗟𝗍𝘁𝗀.
Okay.
Right? Now, I see you're interested in
Yeah,
that.
no, this whole area is just very
This
fascinating.
represents the next generation of safety technology. A generative AI tool that we work with and collaborate with 𝗟𝗧𝗏 and GovTech that can detect complex workplace safety scenarios beyond the video analytics. So this is the video analytics enable us to identify in a way pre-identified scenario, whereas 𝗟𝗍𝘁𝗀 is able to do much more. Our aim is to train the AI to spot hazards that has the same or similar accuracy as that of a human inspector.
Wow.
So when that happens and the technology, the AI is mature, then we will be able to fully leverage on the potential of AI to improve safety and health. Now that is a very exciting project that we are looking very much forward to its fruition.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yes, yes.
There's a lot that's been done and a lot of harnessing of tech.
Yes, yes. I think internally, we have also been deepening our use of data analytics. I mentioned earlier that we will never have enough inspectors to cover all the workplaces. So we need to be more targeted. We need to be more sort of precise in sending our resources, our boots on the ground to the correct ground, so to speak.
I see.
Right. So we leverage on data analytics where we pull together a whole bunch of data, plow it through the machine, and for the machine to tell us actually which companies, which work sites maybe have a bit more problem that we want to send our inspectors down. Right. So those help us be really more targeted in our interventions, right, and better use of our resources.
I mean, this is truly amazing. Just the amount of tech. I'm just so excited to see how this can all together with the regulatory frameworks and with the tech. When you bring it all together, I mean, hopefully that amazing statistic that we had so far.
Yes, we keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah.
But we are quietly confident that I think with the right use of technology, we will be able to make a deeper impact, I think, to the safety performance of the country. And beyond the AI and the data that I spoke about earlier on is the use of other mature technologies. Right?
Okay.
Where, for example, like vehicular safety tech, proximity sensors, 360 cameras, even things like the lorry crane stability control system.
Right.
Right. That all these are proven and mature technologies that companies can adopt to help improve their safety outcome. And we have also developed a range for government grants to be available to help companies defray the cost of adoption. Right? All this taken together really help. We want to get as many companies to adopt tech as possible, so that ultimately it's not just relying on more humans on the ground to ensure safety, but to really be able to optimize and maximize, I think, every human potential that we have, right, to ensure a safe outcome.
That sounds wonderful. So I really want to talk about so earlier on we talked about MOM, right? Focusing on the regulation framework. So MOM does that, the focus on regulatory and enforcement measures. But how did WSH Council strengthen industry capability and engagement in 2025?
Well, the WSH Council have also been very active in its mission, right, in terms of its promotion and engagement of the industry. One of the key programs which the Council have launched is what we call the WSH Advocates. Right now, these are the industry queen bees, and it built on, I think, the concept that I talked about earlier about the powers of the service buyer. Now, these are large service buyer, right? That have got a lot of companies and workers in their supply chain.
Yes.
And the whole idea then is to leverage on the powers of these queen bees, right? Such that if you want to do business with me, right, you need to meet a certain bar in terms of safety and health performance. You need to meet our the company's requirements and criteria before they are allowed to work with these queen bees. Right? So all this really is to, again, push companies and along the line that, look, safety is not just a cost,
Yeah.
Right? But safety is a competitive advantage. Right? And this is where I think council have done an excellent job in pushing and getting more than 30 over companies. Almost I think it's almost close to 40 WSH advocates, I think, and within their entire supply chain, over 340,000 workers collectively that are within this ecosystem. So we are pretty encouraged by, I think, this result and what they have done. And we want to continue to encourage more companies, I think especially the larger one, to join the bandwagon.
Right? It sounds like you've already had quite good impact, but you want to strengthen and further and widen that impact in 2026 and beyond, of course. Of course.
It's a WSH, as I have learned over my career here, it's a lifelong journey. It's a marathon without end. So we will continue to push what we can, to save, to protect the lives and limbs of our workers.
It really sounds like the council, WSH Council, is doing a lot. This is one of many, many things that you're doing. But let's turn our eyes onto, we were looking back at 2025 for a large part of our conversation. Let's talk about 2026, right? The Singapore WSH Conference in 2026 will be held at Marina Bay Sands, 23rd of July. And we are 2 years away from WSH 2028. So where does the biennial conference fit into the 2028 goals?
Thanks. Now, this conference is anchored on the theme Insight to Impact, Collective Effort for Stronger WSH Outcomes, and it reflects our focus on translating insights into measurable improvements. Now, this year's conference examines how organizations can strengthen leadership, ownership, professional standards, as well as safety culture in a more complex operating environment. And it's not just about awareness, but also about execution. I mean, we spoke about that earlier on. So we hope that delegates will be able to take away practical ideas from the speakers who will share from the case studies as well as industry experience and demonstrate what you work and what needs to change. With 2 years to WSH 2028, right, this is a timely opportunity for us to take stock of the progress and to accelerate the momentum. Now, for the conference, the registration is up now, and I encourage organizations to sign up and contribute actively by shaping a stronger WSH outcome for Singapore.
I'm sure it'll be a conference where there'll be a lot of exchange of great ideas also.
Yes.
And fantastic networking opportunities there too.
Absolutely.
Yes. So before we wrap, I just wanted to leave our listeners with something perhaps practical to reflect on. As we further our journey into 2026, what remains front of mind, you feel?
That's an excellent question. Well, first and foremost, as PM have mentioned in his budget speech, that Singapore will place digital transformation and artificial intelligence at its core. Right? And so WSH must also be designed into these systems and new ways of working right from the start. And not just added in as an afterthought.
Yeah.
We must continue to reinforce a strong and pervasive culture of wish to excellence, invest in WSH technology and proactive risk management, and to empower workers to speak up when it's unsafe, and to do this across all spectrum of the economy. Now, this is important whether we are dealing with existing known risks, such as the traditional high-risk sector, construction, manufacturing, or whether we're dealing with emerging risks brought about by changes due to climate, due to the operating environment, or even the industry landscape, with all the green technology coming into play. Our tripartite approach remains critical to our mission. In MOM, we will continue to work with employers, industry associations, workers and unions to strengthen our WSH culture. I think through this collective efforts and vigilance, I am sure and confident that we can sustain our momentum and our achievement and progress towards WSH 2028.
I think it sounds like we've got a lot of plans, plenty of room for execution now.
Yes.
I would say, and goals that we can.
Year.
Yes, definitely. And there are all these amazing goals that are already laid in place. It's really about achieving all of it together.
Yes.
Thank
really
you,
excited
Silas.
about that.
Yeah, I'm excited too, just hearing all the development and particularly for me, the data and the tech that you shared earlier. And it sounds like the conference is going to be amazing.
Yes, looking forward to that in July.
Yes, it's going to be good. But thank you very much for your time,
Thank you,
Silas,
Charmaine.
for sharing all of these wonderful developments as well. And hopefully you, our listener, you've enjoyed our conversation here on Let's Talk. Just to sum up, I feel like our conversation has reminded us that building strong and pervasive workplace safety excellence requires commitment at every level, just to echo what Silas has said throughout our conversation. So we thank you again for tuning in, and we certainly hope that this discussion has encouraged you to also continue working closely together to strengthen our WSH culture. And until our next episode of Let's Talk, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye-bye.